Really, if you look at the Espionage Act, it's not really about taking the documents. It's about destroying them or hiding them or giving them to the enemy.
Right.
It's not about taking them and putting them in a place that's roughly as safe as they were in the first place.
Roughly as safe as they were in the first place. That's Rudy Giuliani, disgraced lawyer, and again, man who gets paid in Kirkland whiskey, speaking to Newsmax, and parroting this line that effectively the documents were just as safe. Now let's just address the first thing that he said, though. The Espionage Act, it's not about taking documents, it's about sharing them. Actually, it's not. George Conway on Twitter is sort of fact checking him on that, says he obviously didn't read the Espionage Act, which prohibits willfully retaining sensitive national defense information and failing to deliver it to the officer or employee of the United States entitled to receive it. Doesn't stipulate that you have to be doing something with it. And of course, we know that there was a subpoena for these documents 2 months before the raid. And before the subpoena, a request, I'm assuming. So he saw this coming, they all saw it coming. But it wasn't just Rudy who was offering that, like they were safer at Mar-A-Lago defense. Take a look at this.
Was there a limited number of people who had access to that storage room? It seems like a pretty important room, right? Since they've made such a big deal of it and have the lock on it and so forth. So were there a limited number of people who could go in and out?
Yes,
absolutely. Or have access to
certainly
it?
Certainly Mar-A-Lago is secure in and of itself. Just getting onto the compound is hard. And then it was a locked door, and getting back down into the basement, there's security. You can't just walk down there. Only certain members of staff can get there, and then there's only one key. So yes, it's a very limited number of people that have access down there. And it was enough to where President Trump believed, or our team believed, that it was secure enough. They asked for one more lock, add another lock, which we did. And then for whatever reason, they decided that they still needed to raid the place.
Yeah, there's just one key, and it's in a dog's mouth, and it's swinging there. And like in Pirates of the Caribbean, and there's a bunch of dudes just whistling, trying to get it over. That's exactly how I imagine it, and I feel like it's probably as safe as that. That's former Trump lawyer Christina Bobb explaining that there was only one key. It was super safe. In fact, the facility, the document facility, as described by News Nation, was a quote storage room off of an interior hallway near the pool with boxes everywhere, next to the chlorine and the floaties and all the things that you need by a pool. So Erin, what do you make of this? That they were safe? God.
Oh, gosh. It's such a ridiculous claim that it almost is a waste of energy to respond to it. I used to live in a building in New York City that had these downstairs storage lockers, and everybody had super hardcore padlocks on the storage lockers. People would put bikes or holiday decorations and stuff. And in my building in New York, somebody broke in with bolt cutters. Pretty easy. A bunch of bikes got stolen. It happened over the course of an hour one random afternoon. That was ostensibly, picking locks is something that people do all the time. Breaking and entering is something people do all the time. Who had the key? Who had the one key? Okay, there was one key. Who had it? Where was it? That, I feel like that's important information, because if it was in fact tied on the collar of a dog that was susceptible to being bribed with snacks, that's a different security issue than having it put in a second safe that had a fingerprint lock or something like that.
No, it is incredibly vague. If you're going to be specific that this was better than, the actual National Archives security or the US government security, then get specific about what that security is versus what your security is, which again is a cartoon police officer blowing a feather up and down with his snoring as it jangles from his side.
But also the National Archives, Laura Ingraham, first of all, her questions, lack of follow-up questions is comically inept. I'm sure she knows what the National Archives are like. There is the case that holds the Constitution or a copy of the Declaration of Independence. They have a security system where if somebody were to break in, there's really, really super thick glass. And if someone were to break in, the documents drop like into a vault. Like, I don't think a little storage room by a swimming pool had like that many layers of glass and some sort of fail safe in case somebody breaks in. And Laura Ingraham was just like, yeah, of course, one key, that's fine. That's fine.
All right.
It's ridiculous. It's like,
thanks
Laura,
for clarifying.
Come on, you didn't just fall off a turnip truck, Laura. You went to Dartmouth. Come on. But I think the fact that Fox News hosts routinely don't kind of tip their hand and show that they know how the world works is a real reflection of their low opinion of their viewers. They really think that their viewers are that uncultured.
Well, and she asks sort of hard questions like, so who had the key? Or there was one key, but then she just kind of like furrows her brow and moves along. I see. As I suspected, there is no answer. Okay, just for clarity, there are certain types of documents, especially the highly sensitive files that were sought at Mar-a-Lago, that require extremely rigorous security measures, more than a lock and limited access to certain members of staff. Some may even require what's known as a sensitive compartmented information facility, or a SCIF, which I don't know if that's what Erin's talking. I don't know if that's where the Declaration of Independence is. That's what drops down. It seems like maybe that's the next level up. But again, not all these documents were necessarily classified. They just did not belong at Mar-a-Lago. And I wanted to give you some context for how secure Mar-a-Lago is. Let's remember, not that secure. In fact, there have been a number of breaches. Here's one, late 2019, a Chinese tourist named Lu Jing wandered onto Mar-a-Lago to take pictures. She was arrested for trespassing, but was acquitted on the charge that after her lawyers pointed out that the club did not have a no trespassing sign and that the entrance she accessed wasn't guarded. Her trial revealed various details about security at Mar-a-Lago, including the location of several security cameras, the total size of the club's security staff, 13 guards, its apparent lack of a secure perimeter, and the fact that staffers maintain daily lists of members and approved guests on digital tablet devices. So you can imagine, you could probably mess with those. Another happens to be Chinese businesswoman, Yujing Zhang, entered Mar-a-Lago from the front, saying she was there for a charity event that she knew had been canceled. She was convicted of trespassing, although no espionage charges were brought against her, despite speculation that she was a foreign agent. Mike Tyson apparently got into Mar-a-Lago without identification, although look at him, it's Mike Tyson. Here's my favorite breach of security that happened at Mar-a-Lago. I'm sure there have been a lot, but one of the members, Richard DeGazio, posted a photo to Facebook identifying the Trump aide who carries the so-called nuclear football, the briefcase that serves as a mobile command center from which the president can launch a nuclear attack. Oh, here's his Facebook post. You guys remember this? And he's bestowing praise on the guy who carries the football. Hey, this is Rick, the nuclear football, also known as the atomic football. Dibba 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 da. Rick is the man. Sign off. Do we think Mar-a-Lago is a safe place?
No. And also, you bring up an important point. Donald Trump is so thirsty to be famous and to hang out around famous people that you could have probably, if you were a foreign entity that wanted to spy on Mar-a-Lago, you could just probably pretend to give him some sort of entertainment award. Be like, here's an Emmy that they meant to give you for The Apprentice. We're sneaking it in. Why is the Emmy shaped like a small video camera? Don't worry about it. This is how Emmys look now. Why would he know what an Emmy looks like? He's never actually won one. So that would be an easy way for people to spy on him or have access to him.
It's harder to sneak into the Vanity Fair Oscars party than it is to Mar-a-Lago. That party, I've read about it. The only two people that ever snuck into that party, this is random, but one hid in a porta potty for like 8 hours. The other brought a pig that they said was Babe. And we're like, this is the Babe pig. And then they got let in. And I think that's fantastic.
That's hilarious. I think they should be allowed to go to every single Vanity Fair Oscars party as a result of that.
Meanwhile, you could bring like an ostrich into Mar-a-Lago and be like, hey, it's the pig from Babe. And they'd be like, oh, okay, looks a little different. Come right in.
Sure, camera adds 10 pounds. Wow, you look great, pig from Babe. Yeah, it also is really funny, the fact that somebody broke into Mar-A-Lago and was like, there wasn't a no trespassing sign. It kind of reminds me of the way that the president and a lot of people in his orbit try to conduct themselves with like Air Bud rules. Like, well, there's no rule a dog can't play basketball. Like, oh, there's no rule that the state legislators can't overturn the results of the elections. It's really astounding. I would say Air Bud level legal analysis there.
Yes, let's make some new laws. Put up no trespassing and don't sell those documents if he already has. He's definitely sold.
Do make a rule that dogs aren't allowed to access classified documents, because otherwise that would be the next move. We would have like a bunch of golden receivers going into Mar-A-Lago and sniffing out nuclear secrets, which
oh, Bud swallowed those a long time ago.
Oh no, Spy Bud.
Spy Bud swallowed those. Oh, he's got them. He's got goggles on. That's how you know it's safe.
Check out the Damage Report podcast each day, wherever you get your podcasts, whether Pocket Casts or Stitcher or iTunes. You can join me as I give you the news and stories you want, with a range of co-hosts and interview guests jumping in on the fun each day. Again, that's the Damage Report, wherever you get your podcasts. And if you get them at iTunes, don't forget to rate and review. Sometimes I'll read them live on the show.